What is up guys, Ghost here and welcome back to another Q&A. Q&A number 6 if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since we've had one of these. In fact, I think the last one was all the way back in October. I think it was back in October. It's been, wow, yeah, quite a few months. So I figured it was about time I did one. Now I asked you guys to give me some questions back last Monday and Tuesday, and today I'm going to be answering those. So the first one here comes in from Patrick Streng, and he says, what's the coolest looking gun in Battlefield 4 and your favourite map? Well, I would probably say the coolest looking gun for me is the AS Val. It just looks very symbolic in a way. It's very memorable. I would just recognise that gun anywhere with the big fat suppressor on the end. To me, it just looks pretty damn cool. Don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys can tell me your favourite gun down below. As for my favourite map, I'm going to kind of have to split this one two ways. Jet-wise, I really like Gulmud Railway. It's probably my funnest jet map. I always seem to do the best on that map. Not really sure why. Visibility is very good. And when it comes to infantry, I would say Propaganda, perhaps? Yeah, Propaganda. That's a really good infantry map. I enjoy that quite a lot out of the expansion maps. Ooh, also, Gwilym Peaks. Gwilym Peaks, I really enjoy that map as infantry, so I would probably have to say either one of those. Alright, so the next question comes in from RedTime727, and he says, Ghosty, can you show us your battle station, or can you teach us how to make pudding? Cheers, mate. Thanks for the question, dude. Well, I don't really have the time to teach you guys how to make pudding, but I guess that means I'll be showing you the battle station then. So here it is. It looks probably a little bit messy to you guys, and that's because I have two computers underneath. One that I use for gaming on, and one that I use for editing, recording, and streaming. So that's why there's two keyboards and two mice on the table. It does look quite cluttered, but it's not a big deal. I pretty much have this set up now when I'm gaming, and whenever I want to edit, I'll just push the keyboard sort of to the back of the desk there underneath the monitor, and then I'll switch to the other keyboard and mouse. So this one comes in from Tic Tac Fo, and he says, how many gigs of footage do you have? Will that double this year, and when do you have too many external hard drives? How much do I have? Around 620 gig at the moment. It's not really too much. Will that double this year? Probably not. I generally use footage as fast as I capture it. Although, you know, having 600 gig of footage isn't really representable to how long a time of footage I have, because, you know, one round of CSGO recorded with the DX Tori will take up about 60 gig, whereas one round of Battlefield 4 recorded with Shadowplay will usually take up around 5 or 6 gigs, so, you know, that doesn't really mean all too much. When can you have too many external hard drives? I would probably say when you need a hard drive shelf instead of a bookshelf. Probably then is a good time to stop. Alright, question number 4 comes in from Mac, and he says, are you at all interested in VR gaming? So the quick answer here would be yes, I am interested. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to try out the Oculus Rift yet, but Mac, given the nature of what he does, I'm sure he has had the chance to try it out, so perhaps he could tell us what it's like. But I can't help but feel that VR gaming is still in its infancy, and it's not really going to properly take off until a few decades have passed. The same thing really happened with touchscreens. When I was a kid 15 years ago, touchscreens did exist. They used to use them for information panels or jukeboxes and that sort of thing, but they really weren't particularly user-friendly, and at that time, they just weren't a practical option to take over from simple switches and button presses. 15 years onwards down the line, touchscreens have really come into their own. They've been developed further. There's been so many innovations in touchscreens, and you know, look at them now. They're used in everything, right? They're in all these different handheld devices. So I think the same thing may happen with VR gaming headsets. But yeah, man, who hasn't watched those films as a kid, like The Matrix or Reboot, if anybody is familiar with that cartoon, and thought to themselves, wow, it would be so cool to be, you know, in VR, right? So I'm going to be sat there, you know, 70, 80 years old, with my VR helmet on my head, playing some Battlefield 10. It's probably going to be awesome. Question number 5 comes in from Alex the Macedon, and he says, what do you feel about missing jets in Battlefield Hardline? So obviously I'm not particularly happy with the fact that there are no jets in Hardline. I understand why the developers decided to go that way and take that option. But at the same time, I'm kind of bummed out about it. But in any case, we're going to be getting Battlefront at the end of this year, with any luck. There should be some sort of equivalent to jets in that game, I would think. However, what I have been thinking is maybe to start learning to fly the scout helicopters. They do have scout helicopters in Hardline, and you could argue that those are the most deadliest weapons within Hardline, vehicular-wise. So I may well start to practice in those, try and improve my skills, and let those perhaps fill the void that the lack of jets has left me with. And this nicely leads me on to the next question, which comes in from Connor Kettering, and he says, what type of videos will you be making for Hardline, and will you continue Battlefield 4 videos during Hardline? The answer is yes, I will be continuing Battlefield 4 videos during Hardline, so all of that jet stuff I will be continuing. That means if I do any sort of scout helicopter videos and stuff like that within Hardline, I will keep doing the Battlefield 4 jet content as well. And I suppose that sort of answers the other part of your question. I do plan on doing some scout helicopter videos, and, you know, then just all the other stuff you can expect. Hopefully as many tips and tricks videos as I can come out with. I don't really know what those are gonna be. Probably everything from weapon review type stuff, just to whatever I discover in the game. Obviously we haven't really had that much of a full-on experience with all of the weapons and the gadgets, so I can't really tell you exactly what videos, but I will definitely be keeping the tips and tricks theme of my channel that I have at the moment. And the last one comes in from Unicorn Hunter, and he says, what's your real name and will you do some real life vids in the future? So my real name is Rick, and I'm sure some of you already know that. It's actually Richard, but everybody calls me Rick. And will I be doing real life vids in the future, like vlogs and that sort of thing? Well, for those of you who watch me over on Twitch, you'll know that once I hit 10,000 subs on YouTube, I've promised everybody that I will start doing face cam over on YouTube. Will I do vlogs? I don't know. I suppose it depends on how everybody reacts to the face cam over on Twitch and how I feel, you know, when I'm sort of on camera, because I don't really know what it's going to be like. If I'm comfortable doing it, then yeah, I guess it's entirely possible that I may do some vlogs in the future. Alright guys, so that about wraps this one up. Thank you very much for your questions, guys. If you would like to leave me a question for the next Q&A, I recommend going and following me on Twitter, because that is usually where I'll tweet out and sort of ask you guys if you have some questions, usually a few days before I record the Q&A. So feel free to do that, I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.